Chapter 8, Nate the Sound Beneath the Surface. Nate woke up to a soft chime from his MarketLink app. Task issued, record ambient noise at the central fountain. Completion required. He rubbed his eyes, scrolling through the details. That was it. No explanation, no additional instructions, just record ambient noise at the fountain. It seemed easy enough. Still half asleep, he got dressed and grabbed the recording device. It felt heavier than before, or maybe that was just in his head. The central fountain sat in the heart of Verosphere Plaza, a wide, circular structure with crystal-clear water streaming from sleek metal spouts. People milled about as usual, laughing, shopping, scrolling through their MarketLink apps. Everything felt normal. Nate settled onto a bench and activated the recorder. A soft beep, a blinking red light. That was it. He let it sit beside him, casually listening to the hum of the plaza. The splash of the fountain, the low murmur of voices, the occasional MarketLink notification chime. It was as routine as it got. 20 minutes later, his MarketLink app vibrated. Task completed. Submission received. Nate frowned. He hadn't done anything except let the device run. Who had received it, and why did they need it? Still, he shrugged it off. A finished task was a finished task. That night, Nate sat in his apartment staring at the recording device. He didn't know why, but he wanted to hear it. It was just background noise, sure, but something about it nagged at him. He opened his MarketLink app, opened the file, and pressed play. At first, it was exactly what he expected. The gentle rush of water, the hum of conversation, a faint melody from a nearby shop, and then a whisper, soft, barely audible beneath the static. "Help me." Nate sat up straight, his pulse quickened. He dragged the playback bar back a few seconds. The fountain, the chatter, the whisper. "Help me." It was real. It was in the recording. He kept listening. Another voice, a different one. He's listening. Nate's skin went cold. The voices weren't part of the plaza's usual noise. They were buried underneath it. Nate gripped his phone tighter, heart hammering as he listened. A message appeared. "Erase this." The file cut to static. Then it corrupted. The playback crashed and the file vanished from his device, like it had never existed. Nate stared at his screen. Cold dread settled in his stomach. Who had sent that? And more importantly, who had erased it? Nate had barely moved since the recording vanished. His mind raced with possibilities. A system glitch, a weird prank, something buried in the plaza's background noise. But then, beep. His head snapped toward the recorder. The red light was blinking. It was recording again, on its own. Nate's breath caught in his throat. He reached for the device, hesitating before pressing stop. The screen flickered. New recording. This time, he wasn't sure he wanted to listen, but his hands moved before his mind could stop them. He pressed the playback. At first, silence. Then, the soft sound of a breath. His stomach tightened. It was close, right against the mic. And then a whisper. Not just any whisper, a familiar voice. One that made his entire body go cold. Nate. His own name. Whoever it was, they knew who he was. The whisper returned, urgency beneath the softness. He's still listening. Nate felt his pulse hammer against his ribs. Don't trust them. The recording cut out, and then it erased itself, just like before. A warning? Nate stared at the blank screen, his breathing uneven. His name. They had said his name. This wasn't just some random fragment of plaza noise. Someone, somewhere, was trying to reach him. And worse, they were trying to warn him. But about who? And why the hell did they think he would listen? Then, his phone vibrated. A new task notification. Task issued, conduct a routine maintenance check at Verosphere Communications Hub. Completion required. Nate frowned. Routine maintenance at the Communications Hub? He wasn't even sure where the Communications Hub was. He swiped through his MarketLink app, locating the map marker. It was on the far side of the plaza, in a section of Verosphere he barely recognized. Something about this didn't sit right, but refusing a task wasn't an option. With a lingering sense of unease, Nate grabbed his phone and left. The building was taller and sleeker than most in Verosphere Plaza. Not a storefront, no bright advertisements, just glass, metal, and silence. He stepped inside. The air was unnervingly still. No bustling workers, no waiting free men or women, just dim white lights, sleek terminals, and rows of inactive kiosks. His phone buzzed again. Proceed to Terminal 4B. Instructions will follow. Nate scanned the room. The terminals were lined along the far wall. Most were dark, but one screen glowed softly, waiting. He approached cautiously, his footsteps the only sound in the empty space. This wasn't normal. He reached for the terminal. It flickered to life. A single message displayed on the screen. If you want answers, don't trust what they show you. Nate's stomach tightened. This wasn't part of the task. Someone was here before him. Someone left this message for him. But who? And what exactly was he not supposed to trust? The screen glowed with a soft, steady light, a gentle chime, a smooth fade into a perfect blue sky, a perfect sky. The colors were crisp, the clouds fluffy, symmetrical, positioned just right. Then came the familiar, calming voice. Verosphere is freedom. The image shifted, seamlessly transitioning to smiling free men and women. The plaza never looked more welcoming. Shops lined with perfect displays, every product within reach, every person at ease. Verosphere is opportunity. A man laughed. His voice carried just enough warmth. A woman browsed a store. She found exactly what she needed on the first try. 2 children played in the plaza. Their footsteps landed in a perfect rhythm. Nothing was out of place. Nothing ever was. Verosphere is balance. Nate's breathing slowed. His thoughts settled. Why was he tense before? Everything felt right. His grip on the desk loosened. His heartbeat slowed. Verosphere is your home. He let out a small breath. The voice was soothing, familiar. Each word flowed like music. The transitions between images were seamless. Nothing clashed. No interruptions. No gaps. No cracks. Everything was exactly as it should be. You are safe here. Of course he was. You belong here. Yes, he did. His eyes felt heavier. His mind felt quieter. The weight of doubt, paranoia, uncertainty gone. Stay where you are. Nate exhaled, sinking into the moment. Everything is as it should be. His phone vibrated. A single notification. The message was short, direct. Do not listen to them. Something inside him stirred. A flicker. A ripple through the calm. The voice on the screen continued, smooth as ever. You are free. But now Nate wasn't so sure. He tried to move. His body felt heavy. His thoughts felt slow. Do not listen to them. Another vibration. Another pulse of clarity. Fight it. Nate clenched his jaw. The voice on the screen was still perfect, uninterrupted. But now he could feel the weight of it. It was too smooth, too perfect, and he didn't trust it. His fingers twitched. He had to break out of this. But how? Nate was sinking. The voice wrapped around him like a blanket. Warm, safe, total. He barely noticed the slight shift in the room, the approaching footsteps, until a firm hand clamped onto his wrist and yanked. His body lurched, his vision snapping away from the screen, his mind shattered back into itself. The air felt colder, sharper. The perfection of the moment cracked. A low voice muttered, close to his ear, firm but quiet. I can't let you get sucked into this, kid. Not another one. Nate blinked hard, his thoughts slamming back into place like broken glass reforming. The video was still playing, its colors soft, its rhythm perfect, but the second he wasn't looking at it, he could feel the weight of it leaving him, like something had been pressing down on his mind. The grip on his wrist loosened. Nate turned sharply, his heart pounding. A man stood beside him, tall, lean, hood drawn up, not a free man, something else. The glow of the screen flickered across sharp eyes and a slight smirk. Figured I'd have to step in eventually. The man didn't wait for questions. He grabbed his phone, entered something, and the screen on Terminal 4B cut to black. The air in the room shifted. Nate felt lighter. His head still buzzed, but the pressure was gone. Come on, before they realize what I just did. Nate's instincts screamed at him to demand answers, but something about the way the man moved, calm, controlled, already 2 steps ahead, made him follow instead. They slipped through a side door, leaving the darkened screen behind. As they moved through the quiet hallways, Nate's phone buzzed, and his task was marked complete in his pocket. He quickly glanced at the screen. The last message was still there. Do not listen to them. He exhaled. So this was him. This was the one who had been warning him. Nate swallowed, his pulse still racing. Who the hell are you? The man smirked. You can call me the Backdoor. The what? The Backdoor. He leaned against the alley wall, hands in his pockets, like an entry point into things you're not supposed to see. You sent the messages. The smirk widened. Took you long enough to figure that out? Nate clenched his fists. Why are you helping me? The Backdoor exhaled, watching him carefully. Because you're listening. A chill ran through Nate's spine. And because if you keep listening, the Backdoor's smirk faded, his tone sharpening, you might make it out or you may become one of their pawns. Nate swallowed. Out of what? A pawn for what? The Backdoor's expression darkened. Verosphere.